So I'm just going to talk a little bit in general while a few more people hopefully move into our space. But just once again, a very, very warm welcome to everybody. And we know it's hard to find the time to give up something like this. And we debated so long and hard about when and how long and how we should actually do these EPAN webinars. But we've decided that we like them a lot. And we're going to keep going with them as much as possible. And, you know, whether there's a small number or a large number, we always learn something. So if nobody else does, even just the few of us who will be stalwarts holding the space, always learn something. And we very much appreciate people coming. So we thought about also the theme that we would implement this year. Last year, we just had a wide open array of different kinds of topics. And all of those topics were obviously in some way or another related to how humans engage with the environment within which they live, which was very much part of how we are, you know, one of the baseline principles of this EPAN network is the notion that all people need some kind of awareness building. Every one of us needs to know more about something. And so we shifted the naming of this environmental education process to environmental education and public awareness. And I think that's an accurate and good decision to have made. It also allows us to be quite eclectic in what we bring to our public knowledge and awareness. So last year was very, very varying. The topics were very varied, literally from waste management to I've gone blank on some of the topics even, but they were wide ranging. We decided this year that while we still want to keep it broad, we thought that we should try and emphasize tools and techniques that people could use more formally in the work that they were doing, whether they were a small conservancy or a formal environmental education program or whatever they were. We thought to bring in some skills and techniques and tools and things that people could actually implement. And another one of our key principles or understandings about environmental work is that we need to build a better relationship somehow between people and place and other creatures that live in that we share this space with. So we're thinking that a lot of behavior change comes less from the head and more from the heart, and more from how we feel about where we live, and more about how we feel about how other people impact on the space and how we do and how the space impacts on us and so on. So we thought that at the beginning of this process, the beginning of 2025, we thought to bring in a set of inputs from people who are working deeply at the heart level within their environmental work. So we have, and maybe it's going to be had, 3 presentations lined up for today. We were going to start with Pandora Long, who is actually part of our core team. And she is an artist, and she is an environmentalist, and she is a teacher, and she is a nature lover, and her art on nature is extraordinary. And she has a massive heart for the environment. So her presentation was going to be the one that we started with, but she lives at the bottom of a valley, the Mpushini Valley, and her connectivity has dropped her at the last minute. So we've got 2 other presentations. Cati is good, and both of those presentations in some way or another are related to journaling about about self in place. And so we're going to ask Cati to give us an input first, and then the two WESSA women will present theirs, their talk as well. And then we will open the floor to discussion. So please feel free to put your questions along the way in the chat. And then we'll let the speakers, we'll let Cati talk, she'll talk, and then we'll open up for a few comments and questions. And then the other two will talk, and then we will open up the space for whatever time we have left for general discussion. So with that, I'm going to say once more, welcome. Thanks for being here. And Cati, please do what you're going to do.
Thank you. Let me start off by just thanking EEPAN and Lucy and all who make this possible. It's such a privilege to be here. Thank you to everyone who showed up. What I want to share with, I'm going to go straight into the presentation, even though there's only two of us. I'm really looking forward to also hearing from Sibusi and Siziwe. They're also journalists and nature journalists, so I'm interested to see how that's going to come out. From Lucy, what you just said about journaling and art and the heart, just stay with me for the beginning of what I want to share with you. And I will, if you can just let me know if Pandora does show up. I'm going to go a little bit more slowly than I would have if she wasn't going to be here. Is that okay? So it's a bit information heavy in the beginning, and maybe a little bit more head and well, it touches my heart as well, but it may feel like it's a little bit more head at the beginning. So I'm going to pause to give people a chance to ask just questions of clarification at one point before I switch gears in the middle. Is that okay, Lucy? Okay, great. So let me get this started.
Cati, would you mind very much if we were supposed to do something which I completely forgot, and that was just to do a very quick round of hellos to see who's in the space. And I wonder if you would mind if we asked you to just take 5 minutes pause while we do that. Is that all right?
Absolutely, of course.
Okay. Sorry, Margaret, this is, I usually rely on you to do this, but.
Well, I've been looking and we are now 20 people. So I think I'm privileged because I can see all the names. And people are typing into the chat. So if there's anyone who would like to, that's new, that would like to just say hi, we would really appreciate that. There are quite a few names that I don't recognize. So
let's just run through the whole lot. A quick hello, where are you from?
Right, well, let's, I'm Margaret Berger. I think some of you may know me, but I wear several hats, and here I'm very much part of the EEPAN team, and we look forward to having a good session, even though we will miss Pandora deeply. Cati?
I am Cati Vawda. My strongest identity is organizationally is Nature Journaling South Africa, and I am in Cape Town physically, and my connection with place is strong, but that is also with KZN and wherever I am in that moment. So yeah, let me leave it there.
Thank you, Cati. Cati, are you able to introduce yourself?
Yes, good afternoon. My name's Cati. I'm from the Peaceville Conservancy. So always enjoy these EEPAN informative sessions. And thank you.
Great. Alice? Alice is from Toti Primary. Alice, would you like to just introduce yourself, unmute? No, shall I go on?
Yes, no, yeah,
Yep.
just go.
Yeah, we've been chatting to Christine. Christine, are you feeling you could unmute and say hi?
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes. we
Oh,
can.
wonderful. Right, yes, technology on top. Hi everyone. I have several homes, the Durban Botanic Gardens being one as an environmental educator, and Botanical Society of South Africa, and very happy to be part of EEPAN. Thank you for this webinar.
Thank you, Christine. Sifiso Dladla, would you be able to just unmute and introduce yourself and say hi? Right, okay. Sifiso is from OHWA Pty Limited. So thanks for putting that in the chat, Sifiso. Anne, you next. Anne Bruises.
Hello, I'm Anne Bruises from Montecille Conservancy and also a little project called WESSA. I'm glad to be here. I haven't managed many other meetings, so happy to be here this afternoon.
Thanks so much, Anne. Emma?
Hi, I'm Emma and I'm from Cape Town, and I live in a wetland, and I work for a project or with a project called the Princess Bay Forum, and we do a lot of environmental education. So it's wonderful to be here and to hear the presentations that are coming today. Thank you.
Awesome, thank you so much. Jenny?
Incredibly special place, claimed by the residents from
Not sure which Jenny it is, so
I don't know.
I can't take
Hi,
side claim.
Emma. I'm assuming it's me. I don't know if there's any
Yes,
other Jennies.
yes. There's only one Jenny online.
I had to just find myself to unmute myself. So hi, everyone. I'm with Margaret at WESSA and Conservancies KZN and various other organizations that I'm with on a voluntary basis.
Thanks, Jane. Who else is Melissa?
Hi everyone, I hope everybody is well. My name is Melissa Nonchiko. I am with the WESSA Youth and with Green Corridors currently, and also a part of EEPAN. I'm here with my colleague Lucia. Yeah, thank you.
That's great. You were a bit soft, so I didn't hear the name of your colleague. So there were two of you.
Yeah, there's 12. Sorry, it's Lucia Mukwena. I hope you can hear me now.
Yes, bit better. Thank you. Lungile.
Hello, how are you?
Great. Hi, Lungile.
I'm good. Okay, I'm being reflected as my first name. This is Nompundo Buthelezi speaking from Ushakasi World. I have just arrived. I don't know whether we're doing introductions or what.
Yes, you are. So we're very happy to have you. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I've got Nkisi Ingrid, which is quite interesting. You want to say hi?
Hi, I am Mkolisi Ingrid Mkhize. I'm from Liberty NPO at Impengle.
Oh, wow. That's very interesting. Thank you. Do we call you Mkolisi?
Yeah, it's okay.
Okay. Thank you. Emma, who hasn't had a moment to introduce? Nontetelelo? You want to say hi? It's always nice to know who's on board. That's Nontetelelo Makaya. And we'll go over to Sipiwe and Blozi quickly. If anybody else feels that we haven't noticed you, please know that you are welcome. Siziwe, can you unmute? In the meantime, I'll just say hi. Lindy, you've got your hand up? Lindy Shorzy?
Yes, because I felt like being skipped. But I am Lindy Shorzy. I am from KwaZulu-Natal, representing South African Youth Climate Change Coalition, which is a youth-led climate justice organization, mainly based in KZN, but we are available in Pietermaritzburg, Durban, Ulundi, various spots within KZN. And I lead the climate justice portfolio. Thank you.
Thank you. We would not have liked to have missed you out. So thank you for putting your hand up. That's awesome. Absolutely awesome to see who's on board and still more people joining. We're now 22. So we will get started, but you know, there are moments in between. So Katie's available to get started. Apologies from Pandora because her signal has dropped. Is she here?
Pandora's joined.
Yes. Pandora, yay. So what are we going to do about switching? Lucy?
Pandora, can you tell us what your status is? Oops. Gone again. Yeah.
I think, can we just...
We've got Kim and Anna.
Okay. Sorry. Kim? We're asking to just quickly say hi, please. Where you are from? And who was the other one, Lucy? Who's it missing?
Anna, the name on the screen says Anna CRTNX1. I'm not sure.
Right. And what about Sibusi and Siziwe? Should we?
Oh yes, of course. Our stars.
Our other speakers.
Yeah.
Hello everyone, my name is Sibusi Chonco. I am a volunteer as well as an educator, an enviro educator here at Umbogavango Nature Reserve. Thank you. Hi everyone, not sure if I'm audible. We're having network issues. Okay, so I'm Siziwe Hlongwe. I'm a WESSA youth leader and an environmental educator at Umbogavango Nature Reserve. Yeah, I'm so happy to be here and I'm excited to be sharing about the work we do here at Umbogavango later. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, let's climb into the presentation now. Katie, let's give over to you.
I think we can put our cameras off for now, just so that we can save bandwidth for those who need it. Thank you.
Katie, your audio is a bit faint.
It's very faint.
Yeah.
I am not hearing. It said
it's improving.
Is it improving? Okay, so you're hearing, are you hearing me?
Yes.
I am really struggling to hear what anybody's saying.
It was better the first time, Katie, when we were testing. It was perfect.
We were fine up until about halfway through the introductions, so I don't know what happened. So if you can hear me for now.
No, it's very soft.
But I think just forge ahead, and lean forward because we can actually hear you just.
So if people can't hear me, I'm going to leave and come back on. Because if you can't hear me, there's no sense in me talking.
I can hear you. I can hear you.
Yes, but and Bruce can't hear.
Can if I turn up the mic very loud and then everybody else speaks, it's like ear shattering, but yeah, it's manageable.
I'm a bit worried about the recording. So
It'll take me 30 seconds to log out and in.
Do it.
In the meantime, everybody, please be patient. I know it's a statement of the obvious. You have to be patient, otherwise you're just going to run away.
Okay,
Lovely.
better. Okay. Wonderful. Can people hear me now? Anne is here for this. Okay, so Anne Bruces is here for the second time for this, and it's a different talk, Anne, but I really would feel badly if she couldn't hear it a second time. Okay, so let's get to it. Right, let me do screen share. Okay, let me first start here. I need to do share. Okay. Yay. So, can everybody see that?
Yes.
So today what I wanted to address is something that is it's a campaign, actually, which is going to sound very different than the introduction you've just had. But it does touch on all the things that Margaret and Lucy have spoken about. And we started it in 2024. And what I think gives a sense of it is nature journaling artivism, a tool to turn the tide for critically endangered African penguins. So what in the world could that possibly be about? And I'd like to go on a little journey with you before we get into the artivism of it and the nature journaling. And just to share with you that throughout our experience of this process as nature journaling South African members, we have nature journaled our way through this process together. And what is that process? It is learning about the current situation, and that learning is, as Pandora was saying, it's ongoing, about the conservation situation of African penguins and what we can do, and developing a new tool, nature journaling artivism, to address and engage that. So in March 2024, you may have also seen this headline that the minister's plan could wipe out African penguins, say scientists. That there is a legal challenge that the environmental minister, not Gwede, assume it's Gwede, but it's not. This is in March, so he was still there. Well, the environmental minister at that time was Creasy, on fishing around breeding grounds. So that was the 22nd of March. This is a day or two later. And that this was a groundbreaking legal action. And that the African penguins were endangered. So the question was, what's going on here? And there's a little caption. If we were in the room together, I'd ask you if you, what your connection with the penguins is. Have you seen African penguins? Have you been to Oshaka if you're in Durban? Have you been to Boulderstown or Stony Point? And did you know what their conservation status is? So what is going on? So the first thing we wanted to know was, what is the conservation status? And this is a screenshot that's used with permission from Instagram of a group called Not on Our Watch, which is an initiative of the Two Oceans Aquarium that looks at what happened in two different periods at two different places. The one on the left is in South Africa, Dussen Island, between the 1900s and 2014. It shows the population of African penguins during those two periods. You can't really see it, and it looks bleaker than it is, which is a bit problematic, but it isn't, it is bleak. So it's gone from millions to thousands of breeding pairs. And then on Halifax Island in the 1930s, which is off the coast of Namibia, or along the coast, no, off the coast of Namibia, which still has a few hundred, I think, maybe 1,000 breeding pairs. So one of the things that a lot of people who feel that they know about penguins don't realize is that there are in fact penguins in Africa, and that they're found along the coast of South Africa, not along some of the sort of territorial islands. And all sorts of things about them are amazing, including that they're one of our oceanic five, our marine five, big five, and that they're an indicator species for ocean ecosystems. And our ocean ecosystems are responsible for 50% of our oxygen as human beings. So really important environmental and beings in our lives, whether we see them or we don't. And this is has been a preventable conservation status for a long time. Historically, they were affected since colonial contact. Human beings and penguins had lived together peacefully for 400,000 years. And then human beings decided that they were fish and could be eaten, and that their eggs were delicious. And that decimated the population greatly. They were further hit by having the guano mine, which totally decimated their natural and really incredibly effective nesting habitat, which no longer exists because you have to build that up over a very long period of time. But now what we have is the main cause that's moved from the African penguin being vulnerable in its conservation status to being endangered, and now critically endangered, is from overfishing that started in around the 1950s, as well as more recently climate change. And the overfishing and the climate change are affecting something that will be the main focus. So that's a lot of head stuff, but also I think hopefully you'll have a sense that this is also really important for our survival, and that we have, I think for me, there's also a lot of heart stuff in here as well when I'm nature journaling this. I'm going to go into something that's a little bit heavier. So if people want to take a deep breath, because the next bit is, the next 2-3 slides are a bit of more concentrated information, not so many pictures as such. So let's see. The African penguin species survival depends on sardine as food. And that is central to understanding where things are now and where they have been since commercial fishing for sardines and pilchards and anchovies started in the 1940s, 30s or 40s, I think it started, but then big time in the 50s and 60s. And that headline, if you remember the headline where it was sort of the minister's decision, the minister's plan, and conservationists and scientists saying that this could lead to a disaster, extinction by 2035. And what's going on with that? So what's going on with that is that over a period of 15 years or so, there has been a discussion about how much that what Lucian was talking about what's the relationship, what's our relationship as human beings with the other living, with the rest of life around us. And how do we perceive that? How do we relate to that? And this is about, so a lot of people eat sardines as food, but also sardines and anchovies are used as a big, profit maker as pet food and also for feeding cattle and for feeding chickens, including for egg-laying chickens, not just for slaughtering chickens. So it's big business, and so are actually penguins. African penguins are big business. They are in the billion-dollar range business. So there's two big businesses, but one, the African penguin, is also about life itself. It's about, do we survive or don't we survive as a planet, about our respect and our relationship with our world and how we're living on it and what the world is telling us about how we're treating our world and are we doing okay or not. And it comes down really sharply focused into this table. So that little penguin on the left is looking up, and it comes down to there are actually 7 main breeding colonies in South Africa. One of them is protected because it is a military zone, which is around the Boulders colony. And the Boulders colony, there's no fishing allowed in that area. So that penguin colony is fairly stable, that breeding colony. However, these other 6 are not. The penguins in those 6 breeding colonies need to compete with commercial fishers who so you've got a penguin that is, sort of up to your knee, who needs to compete with ships that have huge nets and scoop out large quantities of fish. And in removing those fish then don't make it in as close to shore. So it's affected how much fish there is for them. And the minister is not protecting the feeding areas. And the minister, both Creasy, previous election, and now John George, this election, have stuck to the same thing. They are siding with the interests of the commercial fisheries, big business industry. And this is how much protection they have given the penguins. And it's not enough. So what we're going to do is just look at why isn't this enough? So here, even 90%, less than 100%, there's a trade-off mechanism that an international review panel looked at that was based on more than 10 years of research that had been done, and looked at the trade-off mechanism of what's to the maximum benefit of the survival of the African penguin and the least harm to the industry. And they looked at a trade-off point and they made recommendations. Those recommendations are not reflected in these coverage. Okay, so this is coverage compared to what was recommended. So it should be 100% for all of these numbers. Okay? And out of that, none of them are at 100%, but 4 of the 6 colonies don't even have fully 50%. They're no more than 50% covered. So you've basically guaranteed the extinction of the African penguin in less than 10 years' time. That's what they've done, knowingly. So I'm having a lot of feels right now. And one of them is anger, and it's easy to feel despair and to feel disabled. But let's look at one more thing, because my anger goes a little bit deeper than that. I only understood this slide, and I've adapted it because I've seen it a number of times, but it was only at the workshop we did with John Muir Laws, when Cati Vawda, she's absolutely brilliant at explaining things, explained this. She did it as 2 slides. So I'm going to try and use my cursor. So here is Dyer Island. We're going to focus on Dyer Island. Stony Point is here. You might have been there by Betty's Bay if you've ever come to the Western Cape and looked at come to see the penguins. And here in Dyer Island, okay, there's the penguins. So penguins are here, right? These black dots are where the fish are. So these are actually, this is a picture of a sardine, right? So they're all over this place here, right? This orange dot, this orange solid line is where the minister has decided that for the next 10 years, they're protecting this space in here. So the industry can't go in here. But do you see how few dots there are? There's almost no fish there. So when somebody tells you it's biologically meaningless, there's no food there. There's nothing really to protect there. And what was asked for should have been all of this. And if you had all of that, you have food to eat. It's like going and saying, you can have this whole grocery store, but sorry, we've only got 3 heads of lettuce. It's meaningless. So that's the heart of the court case. So what does that, and if you want the references for this, if you want to come back to this, we can look at that. So what does that mean for the African penguin? And that's really up to us. And this is where I have a lot of hope. So this is also an adapted, because I think these graphs are take a bit time to get your head around. So these, on this side, this is how the penguin numbers in breeding pairs, because it's not the number of penguins that we're worried about, it's how many pairs of penguins can make more penguins to increase the numbers, right? So this blue-green space that, as long as you're not colorblind, you might see as 2 colors. What's supposed to be the greenish bit are anchovies, the bluish bit is sardines. As long as African penguins get one of these 2 fish, they're okay, because these fish are both energy dense, and they often alternate. So when the anchovies, and you'll be able to see it a little bit here. So when the anchovies aren't doing so well here, then the sorry, did I get that right? No, I got that wrong. So this is actually the other way around. Yeah. So here, these are sardines. Sorry, I got the pictures wrong. The sardines are doing really well, and the anchovies are not doing so well. So as those numbers drop, you can see this black line. As this colors go down or up, the black line goes up or down. And here in 2010, the status went from vulnerable here, and then endangered, right? And then here, going along, and it's going slower, but it's going down. It doesn't go back up again. And in 2024, in October, after the court case, which so March was the court case had been lodged, and this is in October, 7 months later, they're now critically endangered. And in terms of conservation status, that next step is extinct in the wild. And because of the delays from the minister's office and the minister, the court case, which was supposed to be heard in October 2024, will now be heard in March, between the 18th to the 20th of March 2025. Okay, so in this time, between 2024 and 2035, we have a question mark. Does it continue? The line continue down? Or do we turn that around? And there's a campaign called Reverse the Red for species that are approaching extinction. And the challenge to us is, can we do what is possible? And it is possible. This is a preventable extinction. They just need food that is there. They just need their fair share. Can we turn that around? So the question is, what will we do? So before I go into that, I just want to take a pause and ask for 2 minutes. Has Pandora been able to arrive to log in? And yeah, has Pandora logged in?
No, Katie. She's struggling with bandwidth, but perhaps you could, I don't want to mess with technology, but we are seeing your notes and we are seeing, the next, so the screenshot and then the next slide is in display.
Okay.
Yeah, there we go.
So you get, sorry, your picture's been very small, right?
Yeah, and also I think we need to just be a little bit faster, if that's possible. We don't want to take away content, but I'm a bit stressed because it's already 2:15.
Okay, okay. So
no Pandora, but it's you and Siziwe and Sibusi.
Okay. The rest of it is quite fast, but I just felt it was important to understand that bit if we had the time. I would have gone much faster. If Pandora was here.
Absolutely.
Okay. Okay.
It was quite, it was totally engaging.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
So here, now we know that's the reality we have. And a lot of that was learned through nature journaling. So I just wanted to say that. And I'm going to go through the next slide very quickly to say, how was nature journaling artivism developed? Okay, you wanted me to cover this, Margaret. And I'm just going to say that we developed this between March 2024 and March 2025 as a group of people within Nature Journaling South Africa through a series of engagements that we had in preparation for events. I'm not going to go through the details of the slides of what each brought. 3 of them were on international, well, all of them were actually on international platforms. We also used other local opportunities where we could, but we developed our understanding together. And we organized and presented at John Muirlaw's, one of his Thursday workshops on the 23rd of January. I don't know when that recording is going to be posted. They're often months and months later. It could be well after the court case. But we will share that link with EEPAN, and hopefully that'll be available as well. And it goes into it's a different workshop than this webinar is. So I'm going to just say that gives you an overview, that it was a process, it was collective, and it was through engagements there. So here, what I'd like to share with you is, what is nature journaling artivism? So in case anybody's on a phone and it's difficult to read, what I'd like to share with you is that the definition that we have at the moment, and this is changing and you can use it for yourself. So I'd like to give a nod to Nicholas Smith, who is in the US. He has written a children's picture storybook called The Artivist. It's a beautiful book, and a number of other children's books that are all well worth reading. But he starts with artivism as an act of self-care for himself, and then taking his personal feelings, identifying something that is wrong or broken in the world, and then channeling that. And so we've adapted that to using our nature journal and journaling skills to creatively channel our observations, thoughts, experiences, and feelings into positive actions, both for ourselves as individuals, for society, and for the planet. And we go through a process of connecting with our nature journal through prompts, which is a nature journaling practice on our pages. And at each stage on our page, on our record, so we observe and record on our nature journal pages. I notice, I wonder, it or they remind me of, depending on your mindset, and I feel, which is something that we give a lot of space to. And then through our questions and our reflections, we go and we learn about who and what we care about. We seek to understand the issues, what is already being done, what needs more support, and what more can be done. And we act. We nature journal, and the nature journaling is an act. The broken and the wrong, and the possibilities for healing and making right. And we share that. We include messages and actions, and that includes, in this case, and please, we're encouraging you to take this up, #SaveTheAfricanPenguin. We support others, and we look at filling the gaps and making connections, including nurturing community. So I've got two examples to share with you of what this can look like. One, you may know Tanya Dairam. This is something she did on the workshop. We created Nature Journal Artivism in the workshop we did with John Muir Laws. And this is hers. You may not be able to read this very clearly, but at the top, it's false solutions do not prevent extinction. And there's a pan with a fish in it, hungry 2 kids, please help. And a coastline with lots of fish, and then diagram that I had from the article, and she posted this. So there's a sort of supposed to be there's an adult penguin on the left and 2 chicks on the right, moved to the zone where the fish are, ? And then she posted it on Instagram, and I love what she did here. She described nature journaling artivism, call the people across the world. We learn, we draw, and we reach out to explore how we can individually and collectively act. And then she gave a link, which I have here as well, to Daily Maverick article from December, and also the article that this nature journaling artivism entry is from, which is the title of the article is Commercial Fishery No-Take Zones for African Penguins minimize fishery losses at the expense of conservation gains. And it's a scientific article. Okay. And then this is one that was done for an iNaturalist project, the Geo Art Blitz, in July 2024. And when I posted it, was Save the African Penguin, and then a link to the petition that I'd like to ask you all to consider signing to support the court case. And then it's just a standard nature journaling entry with the date, time, location, an observation of what's going on, and lots of questions. And here's actions you can take. So we can come back to these and I can share those with you. Given the time, I'm not going to spend more time on that now. And one of the things I'd really like to encourage you to do is to consider looking at creating and sharing nature journaling artivism. There are online opportunities and in-person opportunities. This might be a bit of a reach, but if you want, we can facilitate helping to support. If you feel you can do this now, please go out and do it. And if you are ready to share, I'll post, I actually forgot to add it in here. Email your nature journaling artivism to our email. And if you're putting it on social media, here's the hashtag. In a month's time, we're going to collect all of that and we'll do a reel on our Instagram. We're going to send it to, we'll send it to the minister, and we're going to be looking for collaborations and shared learning with Sankob, hashtag now, and others. And thank you. Sorry, I went on for a bit. I went off with very long. Apologize.
Thanks so much, Cati. That was very fascinating. And I mean, I don't know where I've been all this time, because although this has been on my radar, not in an informed way. So I've for one learned a whole lot about the criticality of this situation. But I love the kind of personal activism that is implicit in journaling. So you spoke about how the feelings are of anger and despair and disablement, and in a sense, immediately one can journal. And that, and then what you do with that journal is how you extrapolate your action out. But immediately it deals with your heart and your sense of disablement. Like I can put my feelings down about this stuff and my rage and all of those things. And I think what I loved about your presentation was that you really made the point about the extractivist economy, which often we don't really join the dots. We just hear the story about the poor penguins. And of course, yes, that's important, but they're poor because we operate in an economy that is extractivist rather than conservationist. So these are yeah.
I just to add to that, Lucy, I think that the people and the penguins as well, the overfishing will put people out of jobs and deprive people who rely on cheaper protein because of the overfishing. So sorry, just wanted to add that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's that balance. So I wonder if there's anybody else who's got questions. Perhaps you can just take down your screen so we can see the hands, the people.
Oh, sorry. I apologize.
So Anne has got a question. Anne, go for it.
Sorry, I have a number of questions, and thank you. I'm happy to have heard this again because I didn't quite get the direction again. So can I just ask all the questions at once? So, and I'm sorry, there's so many. Is it possible to use your visuals that you shared, or to get access to your visuals to share with others in some way? That's question number one. The other thing is, you asking us to share on social media with the hashtag. Is that our action?
Okay.
Where is the court case? And if we wanted to go beyond just hashtag on social media, so we wanted to, would we go to the Minister of Environmental Affairs, you know, with an email or a plea? Is that a possibility? And the other question is, do the African penguins breed anywhere else other than in South Africa? Sorry, that's a question.
Good. I think if you can dash through those questions, some of them are.
I can really quickly. So yes, you can use our visuals, access them by contacting me, or Margaret. You contacted us through Margaret before. You can do that again. Just let us know what you want. We like to know where they go and how you engage with that. The court case is in the Gauteng High Court. The action can be sharing on social media. So sign the petition. Everybody please go and sign the petition. I can share the link in the chat while the next presentation is being set up. So that's the one thing. Sharing on social media is an act of awareness raising, because everybody reaches a different network, and raising awareness, people don't know as much as we think they do about things. So I think that's there. Yes, there's actually, I didn't go through all the actions clearly, but I can also put the link to emailing the minister. You can also contact your parliamentary representative and ask them to ask parliamentary questions and hold them accountable. Tell them they have to come back to you. The African penguin is only found on the African continent, only in South Africa and in Namibia in terms of breeding. Sometimes they stray further up the coast along the west or the east, but that is exceptional. Breeding is only here. In Namibia, they are just about hanging on by the skin of their teeth. They're just barely making it because they overfish to the point that the sardines and the anchovies cannot return. They've got jellification. And that habitat cannot be rehabilitated.
Yeah, thanks so much, Cati. That was a good whip through. Are there any other questions? Otherwise, we're going to move on to our next presentation. It's nice to have the questions and comments. It doesn't have to be a question. You can almost swear, but not quite.
Lucy, I think that the one slide that Cati has put together but not presented today on actions is very valuable, because it's about personal, being selective. If you do want to purchase anchovies or sardines, what do you look for? Sustainable fishing, the SASSI list. So yes. I think there are lots of smaller actions as well, and awareness. And then all kudos to Nature Journaling South Africa for linking up with John Muir Laws and the USA to get that broader awareness globally. Because one of the things that I've learned through Cati and NJSA is that African penguins are the most zoo-kept penguins, because they manage to survive in that kind of environment. So if we're not careful, that's the only place that we will see them. And Nomfundo Buthelezi is also online. She's Sambra, and we've been trying to get to Ushaka Marine to do nature journaling. But this coming Sunday, 11 o'clock, we will be at the Natural Science Museum as Nature Journaling KZN to meet up and have a look, what is at the museum. So anybody wants to join us for nature journaling and a learning curve on Sunday at the Natural Science Museum, just make contact. But that's part of the broader conversation and the broader action, and just creating awareness that just sort of snowballs along. So I think we don't have the time, but Cati's put the urgency across extremely well. So thank you so much.
Yes, agreed.
Yeah.
Okay, Siziwe and Sibusi, I think you are going to take over now. Are we ready, Siziwe and Sibusi?
I hope they haven't fallen off. Just checking.
No, they were having some problems with.
Yeah.
Okay.
There.
Hello, everyone.
Right, you should be able to share
Moment,
your
we can't
screen.
see.
Yes, we are ready.
Yes. You're in charge of your own screen.
We've got a
I did
low
your
bandwidth.
first permission. You good? Thank
Okay.
you.
Yes.
And
it's our first time sharing our own screen. I'm not sure. Sorry.
I think put your own camera off and go full screen if you can. It said something about double click to go full screen.
Okay.
Alternatively, go to that little underneath your elbow. There's the full screen icon next to the volume.
Okay, is this the one?
It's the one, but it hasn't quite kicked over yet.
Okay. Yeah.
Maybe try Margaret's trick of double clicking on your screen.
Okay. To us, it has viewed the full screen. So
just keep going. Don't worry. Just
it's on. Yeah, it's on full screen. Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. My name is Siziwe Hlongwe. I am a WESSA youth and I'm with Sibusi. We are both involved in a project at Umbogavango Nature Reserve, and we are both environmental educators in this project. So we will be going through our presentation of what we really do here. So ours will be very short. We really did enjoy Cati's presentation on the penguins. So it's like she raised a very big bar, a very huge bar for us. So we'll just be brief, but hopefully everyone will understand. Okay, so our presentation content, I will just go through the project overview. We'll show you a little bit of highlights over the years, and then how we measure progress, and then we will conclude. Okay, so over the years, being part of this program, I've realized that environmental education has proven to be an effective way of heightening the biodiversity protection curve and also addressing environmental issues in the country. So WESSA, in partnership with ACI, plays a huge role in addressing complex environmental challenges of the country through this project, which is the Umbogavango Environmental Education Program. And the program has been running for more than 30 years. So during COVID, it was on pause, it was on hold. And then after COVID in 2022, in June, it resumed. And then it's continued with renewed momentum. And over 7,000 learners from local primary schools have benefited from the project. So it runs at the Umbogavango Industrial Complex. So the reserve is situated within the 36 hectares within the Umbogavango Industrial Complex. And it's one of the 3 reserves that were transformed from the waste dumping sites here inside the complex to these recreational areas. So it's a very special place to us where we connect learners to nature through this program. Okay, so one of the main aims of this project, or the objectives, is to ignite environmental consciousness, which then inspires passion and encourage an interest of the natural world to learners, while inspiring advocacy and action towards the environment. So it is just our aim to encourage interest of the natural world to learners as we take them on tours and as we expose them to the natural environment.
Siziwe, can I just stop you? And the slides are not moving, and Fundo is saying click on slideshow. So then we can have a big screen, and you're still on the first slide. So can you go to slideshow? Nomfundo, feel free to interrupt, please. Okay?
Okay, Siziwe.
Yeah, well.
Can you see the bar at the top where there is home? Home, insert, draw, design. Right at the top, yes. Then slideshow. Okay, just below that slideshow. Can you see home?
I don't know. Yes, I can see
Then
home.
move towards your right. There's insert, there's draw, then slideshow is somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, go. Let's see. Yeah.
Then it's from beginning.
From beginning.
Then move to where you are currently at. Yeah, click from beginning.
Okay. Is it working?
Yes, it's working.
Thank you so much. Is it moving?
Not yet. I don't know.
It's not working.
No. Maybe we can
But you
stop.
can see the next slide.
Okay. Maybe we can stop sharing and then we can ask Margaret.
Yeah.
We can ask
No.
Margaret.
I'm asking Nomfundo because she's giving me messages in the chat.
So is it still in the first slide?
No, we're not in the first.
Okay. On our side, it's on project overview. Is that what you're seeing now?
Yes.
Project overview.
Yeah, boy.
Just carry on. We're not getting it into full screen, but we don't want to interrupt you too much. We're interrupting your flow. Sorry.
No, it's fine. Okay, so the projects and the programs are facilitated by the environmental educators, which is myself and Siziwe, and it is managed by WESSA membership. We conduct lessons which are mainly outdoors. The lessons and activities are conducted outdoors and are integrated with the school's CAPS curriculum and natural science and technology. And well, our sessions, we have 2 sessions each day, which is on session 1, we have a short walk, a forest walk, guided walk in the forest, where learners are educated about biodiversity as well as photosynthesis and how all of that works together. And then in the afternoon, which is the second session, the learners are allowed to explore the forest more in a longer forest guided walk, where they connect with nature and they get to see for themselves the importance of preserving and conserving spaces like this nature reserve which we have here.
Okay, just to go back a little bit. So we also incorporate environmental days. So we do use the environmental calendar to raise awareness on special environmental days. So one of the Enviro days we celebrated, especially last in 2023, was the Enviro Week, and We had assistance from Pandora to use one of her stories about Umtini, and we had younger ones, and then we shared the story to them. So it was about, the theme was about protecting wetland and raising awareness on the importance of water. So that the celebrating Enviro Days has really had a big impact on helping us convey the message, or helping us to help learners care for the earth. So as Sibusi has said, we have forest guided walks where learners connect deeply with the forest, and they do have that opportunity to answer questions. And also we do speak about indigenous knowledge, since most of these schools are from rural communities, and we do share knowledge with the teachers as well, and they do share their knowledge. So it has been like a core learning. We have like utilized core learning during our lessons and during our programs. Okay, so we do have highlights over the years since the program has resumed from 2022. For us was in 2023. Am I still audible?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so some of the highlights we have. So for me, one of the highlights on 2023 was attending the ESSA conference. So ESSA stands for the Environmental Education Association of Southern Africa. So it aims to enhance environmental education and sustainability initiative in the Southern African region. So having an opportunity as environmental education intern to attend the ESSA conference in 2023 was the biggest highlight, as it opened our eyes, and it was an opportunity to network with other like-minded people and to learn from them, because we did the stuff we learned there, we were able to use them in our program. So it did bring a very big impact on our program, and a very huge difference. And then other highlights, we have lots of highlights in 2023, but ESSA stands out. And then we have one of the highlights as well in 2024, which was the launch of the library here at the center. So one of the things we've always wished for is to enhance environmental literature to learners that come here at the center, because we've realized how important environmental literature is nowadays, in these days of environmental uncertainty. So AECI hosted the 100th year celebration event. So that is where we launched our library, and it is currently running. And we are finding ways to connect learners to nature through the library.
So other highlights for 2024, it was during September, which is the upper month, we planted trees, over 30 trees around the reserve, with preschools that come from areas around this reserve. So that was one of our highlights, as well as hosting the Durban School for the Hearing Impaired, which was our first time having disabled children and the mentally challenged children here. So it was a learning curve for us, and as well, seeing how being here in the reserve, it opened their mind, and how their behavior changed, from the first time they came here to the afternoon when they were leaving. They were so free, and the behavior, the difference in behavior, you could see it, in the children. So those are the highlights. Then moving on to measuring progress. So there are different ways that we can measure the progress of the the project here at Umbogavango Nature Reserve, which is number one. In 2024, we have seen an increase in the number of students that have came here in the reserve compared to 2023. So in 2024, we had 3,585 learners who managed to visit the reserve, and we had an increase in the school numbers by 4, compared to 2024. I mean, compared to 2023. So that was a huge, milestone for us as here. And then another way we measure progress is through collaborative success. We have been collaborating with Umbogavango Marine World Education as the Enviro educators. We have been attending the teachers workshop at Umbogavango Marine, and it is a very good networking platform, as well as the resources that they provide us. We are able to implement them here at the reserve and to make sure that our program is improved and there is growth in our lessons here. And then as well as the Durban Botanical Gardens, environmental education and training. So we have been the Knowledge Day, with the trees and educating as well. We have been able to grow our skills as well as our knowledge through volunteering at these facilities, as well as the EEPAN connection as well. We are able to increase our knowledge and learn from others, like Katie, the presentation that she's been doing today. We are able to learn from such connections as these ones.
Okay, so it's also continued commitment. So ACI has been very they have been so faithful in ensuring the continuity of the program through funding. So that is one of the things of measuring success. And then the continued support from the Umbogavango Project Executive Committee, that has been very helpful to us, because without them, the projects wouldn't have continued, and they wouldn't have picked up from or after COVID. So their support and nurturing the interns here has been really helpful in ensuring the continuity of the project. And then WESSA, as well as the national organization, which ensures that the program runs smoothly and offers training to the interns, as well as the guides here, the other part-time guides that are offered an opportunity to learn from this program. So all of these have ensured commitment and continuity of this program.
So we try by all means to implement innovative approaches to our lessons here, just like ensuring hands-on experience with connecting learners to nature by exposing them to nature itself, instead of approaching education in the traditional manner, like keeping them in a classroom. So that approach, we have seen a lot of improvement in the learners as well as the positive feedback that we get from teachers. And one of the most significant observations made by teachers was the unexpected and unusual enthusiasm shown by learners who typically struggle academically. Many learners who are often disengaged in the classroom displayed a keen interest in the activities at the reserve. They actively interacted with the facilitators, participated in discussions, and even answered questions during the sessions. This shift in behavior underscores the value of outdoor learning environments, as they provide alternative ways for students to connect with subjects that might not resonate with them in the classroom settings. So this newfound engagement has the potential to positively influence their learning experience moving forward in the future.
Okay, just on the point of ensuring first-hand experience, one of the things that Lucy said when she opened was that a lot of behavior change comes mostly from the heart and not from the head. So we have proven through this project that when we expose learners to first-hand experience in nature, that changes the heart instead of just theory only, maybe in the classroom, as Sibusi has said. So we have experience in learners through deeply connecting with nature in the forest. So even the walks, one of the slides Sibusi emphasized on in the morning, whereby we introduce them to the forest in the morning, and then later on it is deep connection to nature. So that walk is very important in ensuring that everyone lives with a sense of understanding of why we are conserving nature and why we have to protect biodiversity. So it really is helpful to expose them directly to the forest and to nature. We do acknowledge WESSA and AECI for continued support in keeping these projects running through all the 30 years. So AECI is the main grants funder of the project since it started, and WESSA manages the project. So we are very, very grateful for Margaret Becker, Nomalim Somi, and Aneska Dupoint and Bob Skipping, which are Umbogavango Executive Committee. We are also grateful for a platform like this. We have been learning so much from Lucy, Margaret, Katie, like everyone that has impacted us greatly in opening our eyes in what is happening in the environment and igniting our environmental consciousness through nurturing us. We are learning so much from EEPAN as well. So we're very, very grateful.
Yeah, so from us, that is it for today. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You too, honestly, I feel so encouraged. I feel like the future is in good hands. Sometimes I despair when I look around at what there's a couple of very loud people at the moment in the world who are saying some very scary things. And then when I hear you guys, I know who I want to listen to.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you so much for that.
So important. It's so important that you are the inheritors of a difficult situation, and the economic system of that has brought us to where we are now is hard on the earth, very hard on the earth. But it's hard on us. We don't realize that actually the earth will be fine. It's living people on it that are not going to be so fine if we carry on being dim as we have been. But you guys will fix it, no doubt. And I really also want to second your appreciation of the elders, of the knowledge, the mentors, and the holders of these young minds, like Margaret Berger. Honestly, is a wonderful person to mentor people and to bring people into this deep understanding and appreciation. So thanks, you two. Are there any questions and comments? Feel free to, every single one of you, say how amazing these two women are.
one of our more recent youth meetings was, you know, we need more elders who are available to mentor the youth. So that came out of a sort of a brainstorming session that we had about how do we go into 2025. And a while ago, when I was still doing my own research, it was about the Granny Club. I don't want to call it a Granny Club because this morning somebody said to me, Sawubona Gogo, and I'm like, sorry, I'm not your Gogo. And then she called me in Tombi, and I was like, okay, well, I'm not quite in Tombi, but it really points to the thrill that the older generation get when they hear people like Sibusi and Siziwe and the rest of our group, that we just do need more elders. That's the bottom line. We need more people to engage and transfer the knowledge and share the enthusiasm and the hope. So thanks so much. Thank you to Cati. Thank you to Sibusi and Siziwe. And yeah, I didn't interfere at all. So this is their presentation. Thank you so much.
Does anyone want to say anything else? Okay, so if there's no further comments, we can bring our first.
Sorry, Lucy.
Oh, yes, you can. Go for it.
Just to add a little bit, I also wanna thank Nomfundo Buthelezi because she's yes, yes, because she's been helping us with the workshops, the teachers' workshops at Samba. So she's been a very like helpful source for us in terms of understanding marine environment, marine conservation, because one of the things we want to do here at Umbogavango is not only to look at terrestrial or land or forest, but then it's to also incorporate the marine knowledge, because we believe when you look at the environment or environmental education, you have to look at it holistically. So it's one of the things we've been trying to do in the program, and Samba and Nomfundo has been really, really helpful to us. So we just, and networking has been like, it's been great to us. So we want to thank you.
Yeah, I'll second that. Nomfundo is another very powerful future leader. No, she already is a leader. She can't help us. Cati.
You got your hand up?
Cati, you're still on mute.
Greetings, everyone.
Yes.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi,
Is that Wendy?
Yes, it's Wendy.
Please talk loud.
Greetings, everyone. I am Wendy Zuma from Liberty NPO. I wanted to ask Siziwe and Sibusi on how I could find them, because it seems like we're doing something similar, so I need to have more information. And I saw that they are working along with Pandora on the wetland, on protecting wetland, so I need more information on that thing. I need maybe an email or a contact where we will find them.
Yes. So Siziwe and Sibusi, please can you give your contacts to Wendy? I'm sure you can put the message in the chat.
Okay, we will put them just now.
So Wendy, are you in Pentle?
Yes, I'm in Pentle.
Fantastic. Well, welcome to eThekwini, even if it's over the air.
Well, that's very encouraging, because we drove past Mpentle coming back from Sani Pass. And of course, that whole area is where the Umgeni rises, where it starts. So being at Underberg, Sani, and we've got 1 or 2 people in Bulwer, we would love to have another youth hub connecting. So please do make contact with Sibusi and Siziwe. It would be really awesome.
Great.
Cati, did you still want to say something?
I
Right, well,
didn't actually, it was a mistake. I raised my hand by mistake, but since you've asked me twice, let me just say that I am so inspired by Siziwe and Sibusi and the energy they bring. And as much as we need maybe more elders, I would love to see more youth, and the energy that they bring to nature journaling is something that I am continually inspired by. So those are the thoughts that rise to mind at the moment. Apologies, it was me fiddling with my keyboard.
No worries.
But thank you also, thank you also to Margaret and to you and Lucy as well for inviting Nature Journaling South Africa to be able to share what's on our minds and what we're doing, and to include that. It's such a I always learn so much and try to share that back with others in our community. I think what you're doing as a network is just so wonderful, and hearing the questions from other people and the perspectives and what other people are doing is also inspiring and energizing. And yeah, so thank you.
Great. Thanks for appreciating that. That's why we wanted to do it. Exactly why we wanted to do it. So I'm just wondering, just before we close, whether Siziwe and Sibusi want to say something about the nature journaling, because you were both involved, right? No?
Yes, the nature channeling group has been very helpful to us, with connecting more to nature. It has been another helpful connection, and we are learning a lot from Cati as well as the others who are very passionate and enthusiastic about journaling and art. So yeah, it has offered us so much growth with art, and as well as expressing ourselves through journaling and through drawing as well. So thank you to Cati.
And what was your first experience like? Your very first experience of journaling, what was it like? What did you feel when you had to do it the first time? Did you know what to sit to write or draw?
Well, for me, at first, I was like, oh my God, how am I going to draw? Because I'm not I'm not an artist. But then after Cati and the others told us the importance that it's not about drawing or a good drawing, but it's about expressing yourself through journaling. So it gave me a great feeling, encouragement, hope, and the drawings that I made, like my first entry, I'm able to use it now to look back at the memories. It's like a photograph that you take on your own, so you become an artist in a way, but your very own artist. So it's been an amazing platform to learn how to connect deeply to nature and to express yourself. Because I remember last year when we were diving with sharks, we didn't know how to express ourselves, like all the emotions that like they were very great. So the tool that we used to express ourselves and to process all the emotions was nature channeling. My drawing wasn't good, so every time I look at the drawing I laugh, but then it brings me great memories, and it's just a great tool of connecting to nature for me.
And okay, so for me, the first time, I always try to perfect everything that I do. So it was kind of frustrating because I wasn't directed by anybody. I was just doing it by myself. But the second time I got to understand, through Cati's prompt, during the nature journaling sessions, you know, where she was giving us pointers on how to actually nature journal. So that is when I got to understand what it's actually about. It isn't about, you know, perfect art, but it's about capturing, you know, those emotions and those feelings while you are in nature, in a natural space. So yeah, thank you to Katie for that. And it's been nice, another way of expressing yourself. So thank you.
Lovely.
So I think I should add that with Pandora's absence, one of the other events that we did is we went to Umpushini Valley and we had a workshop with Pandora. And that was on watercolor art and painting and just being in that environment and experiencing the valley and the way that it is still quite pristine. So it's a pity that we've missed Pandora today, but it does mean we have the next session to look forward to. And all of these snippets sort of pulled together in under the nature journaling banner. I find it quite incredible. And one of the dilemmas is that for me, nature journaling is also about hope and relaxation and connecting. But there's so much on the stewardship side. And we know how, as environmentalists, we feel so deeply about a lot of the trauma that's happening around us. So there's that balancing act between the two of them. It's quite interesting how every now and then you just have to put the rest aside and then just focus and do the nature journaling. So that's a very personal side for me as part of the nature journaling. And thank you to everybody who's been here today. We're really grateful that you come, and we look forward to having you on the first Friday in March. Hey, Lucy?
Yes, and it's also the 7th. And we'll also be having Jim Taylor talking about the Environmental Education Conference, but hopefully we'll be able to either fit Pandora into that one or actually, you know, just have a dedicated one with her thereafter. So we've got lots of plans for the year for talks, but we're also very open-minded to anybody in this room or anyone you know who you think would be able to share something, you know, usable for the other, you know, for the colleagues in the space, in this environmental awareness building space, to just come and take the space, take charge of it and share something amazing. It's always amazing, by the way.
Great. Much.
So with that, we are going to close the session. And I didn't get around to it, but you know, always closing sessions is I always find them quite difficult. And then recently I was on some process and the person at the end started playing a really beautiful music. And it was such a cool way to end. And I thought I'm going to do that, but I forgot.
Oh, we were looking forward to your music.
So happy weekend and see you next time.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you. Thanks very much. Bye-bye.
Yes, bye.
Bye-bye. I
Have a
didn't
good
speak,
weekend.
but just listened.
Bye.
I don't know if you can still not hear me, but all the very best.
Yeah, to all of you.
And there's Coral. Coral,
Yes.
Thank you.
I was
Scotland.
just being quiet today
Oh,
and listening
that's
because
the
I've been a
first
bit
time.
out of the loop.
I've never
But I'm
ever
always happy to help. If you have something that you'd like me to do, I'm happy to help.
Thank you, Coral. Thank you, Papa. Cheers, everyone.
Bye. Thank
Bye.
you very much. Bye.
Thank you.